Minister Obi Wilshcombe says the government plans to revisit whether Bahamians should be legally involved in gaming. Identity theft is on the rise, how you can protect yourself. All suspects released in the murder probe of Kurt McCartney. The IAAF pleased with preparations for the inaugural World Relays in 2014 and new cultural attractions set for San Salvador. We have those stories and much more coming up tonight. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Christina McNeil, and your MB12 starts right now. Tabling of the gaming bill in the House of Assembly over 2 weeks ago, there has been public criticism of the perceived discriminatory provisions in the bill that would allow casino operators opportunities that local web shop bosses do not enjoy, especially those provisions that would allow casinos to offer mobile and internet gaming and prevent Bahamians from participating. Paige McCartney spoke with the minister responsible for gaming and filed this report.
The discussion on Bahamians gambling at casinos is for another time, according to Wilshcombe, who said at this time the focus is on changes for the modernization of gaming as an amenity of tourism.
That's another debate. That debate is another debate. That debate is about Bahamians and gaming. That's another debate. And we're going to get there, no question about it. But right now, we want to modernize the gaming industry to ensure that we are getting the tourism dollars that come to this country, or we're attracting that high end, because tourism is our number one industry.
Wilshcombe said he believes the issue of Bahamians being allowed to gamble did not end in the January gaming referendum, and that before the end of its tenure, the government will revisit the issue.
They can't gamble right now because the laws do not allow for gambling right now. And are we going to get there? I think we will get there eventually. I don't think we can get there tomorrow.
In fact, Wilshcombe said he doesn't see gaming as practiced among Bahamians going away despite the referendum because of its entrenchment in Bahamian culture.
It hasn't gone yet, and it's been around for decades. Decades it's been around, and to be honest with you, I don't think so. Whether we like it or not, it exists. And no matter what you say, it exists. See, we can be dishonest and say it doesn't exist. It does exist. That's a reality all over the country. Well, have we discussed it in this country, really? Have we looked at the pros and cons of it, really? Have we really had any real education? Well, let's begin that process, because the Bahamian people said in a referendum, no. We can't ignore that. We closed the racetrack. We can't ignore that. So because you took positions on both, well, that tells you how we might have and how we might be thinking about gaming. So what we have to do is begin the process before that's revisited.
He said government has a social responsibility to the Bahamian public to educate them and provide them with other means of earning money.
What you don't want to have is a country where everyone every day is flocking to the casinos because we're looking for that thing. And you know, some people today are playing the numbers because they're looking just to make ends meet. We know that. So, but we haven't had a process or a program of education to ensure that Bahamians know that they're making an informed decision. That's fundamentally important, I think, in running a country.
Wilshcombe said public education will have to be at the forefront of the discussion regarding legalizing gaming before government revisits the issue. He said government also intends to conduct a scientific poll on the populace to determine, if any, what forms of gaming they would like to participate in and have legalized. For MB12, I'm Paige McCartney.
Well, government has extended its deadline to choose the new casino operators for the former Grand Lucayan even further to give the two Bahamian companies vying for the bid to meet certain criteria before a final decision is made. There is one other leading contender believed to be the Dream Group based in the Dominican Republic. However, Wilshcombe says a decision will not have to come before the end of the year because the new hotel operators are looking for a January 11th, 2014 rebranding date. He said government wants to give those Bahamian companies a chance.
For want of anything else, they're Bahamian. But there are certain standards they must meet. And we know that, and we've been trying to encourage Bahamians to get involved, but at the same time, we can't compromise the integrity of the industry either, or what we're trying to reach. So the Bahamian involvement is fundamental. And so this is beginning the process, because prior to this, Bahamians didn't apply. And if the Bahamians don't get it this time around, the truth is we're now in the game, and there are other opportunities, other licenses you can go after and you can get to be in the gaming industry.
Bookings are going quite well, especially from the Canadian market, according to Wilshcombe. He says government is very optimistic about the future of that property. In other news, a day after police warned that cyber crimes are a growing threat, a local anti-fraud organization warns Bahamians to brace themselves for other emerging fraud trends that you may not believe exist in the Bahamas. Identity theft is on the rise, and not only online. Tonight, Nakia DeVoe tells you what to look out for and how to protect yourself.
It's a serious crime that's getting worse. Thieves are stealing people's identities using any one of these: credit cards, national insurance information, and your social media profiles. But here's the scariest part. Victims are suffering more than just a hit to their wallets.
We like to think that maybe we're immune, but a person gets a hold of your identity, your national insurance number, and pretends that they're you. I think we're going to see more of that coming up in the future.
President of the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners Bahamas chapter, Kendrick Christie, says the trend is something the ACFE is very concerned about. Yesterday, police revealed that banking institutions have been defrauded over $25 million, but admitted that there are no statistics for individuals who have been targeted. And while there is no official data on personal identity theft in the Bahamas, Christie says reports to the association and police have spiked.
We're going to work with them to perhaps make the statistics more sophisticated. Now, we've heard of some cases anecdotally where we've heard of one or two persons who actually, especially where someone has the same name as you, and persons who have poor credit, and they use the name to go in and run scams. And so we just believe that the Bahamas tends to follow the trends of the world, and because we see it happening around the world, we begin to see it now.
Many of us may not realize it, but throughout the day we do many activities that put our personal information at risk. From something as simple as writing a check at an establishment to charging merchandise in person or over the phone. Police say you might not think twice about those transactions, but others might. Here are some of their identity theft prevention tips. Do not give out your personal information unless you initiate the contact or you know the person or company with whom you are dealing with. Never disclose personal information such as your bank account information in response to an email. Do not disclose your credit card number to an online vendor unless it is encrypted and the sign is secure. Remove all documents with personal information from your hard drive before discarding your computer or sending it in for repair. Shred documents including pre-approved credit card applications, bank statements, store receipts, and utility bills before discarding them. But that might not be enough. There's a new, easier way for thieves to pretend to be you. People freely offer information about themselves here on Facebook. Their names, their addresses, their phone numbers, and their photos. Harmless, right? Well, not really. People could be using your information and your face in fraud schemes.
You got to be careful about the pictures and the information that you put on your Facebook page or your Twitter page or whatever have you. And so because the persons sometimes who you think are your friends are just persons trying to take advantage. And we live in a world now where there's so much information and perhaps too much information. And so that is something we're trying to discourage persons to do.
A local pastor recently had his identity stolen from Facebook. Golden Gate's World Outreach pastor Trent Elliott Davis's identity was used to shake women down for money. Davis told the Nassau Guardian that someone stole approximately 50 photos of his likeness from his page and created a fake page with his photos using the name Dexter Robinson. The person then used the new page with Davis's identity to befriend women. When the women had accepted the friend request, Davis said the fraudster would then shake them down for money and harass them, claiming he had to have major surgery and needed the money immediately. Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade police have and will continue to arrest and prosecute identity thieves. In the meantime, you're warned to be on your guard. Reporting for NB12, I'm Nakia DeVoe.
In more news from the Crime Beat, police have released all suspects in custody for the murder of businessman Kurt McCartney. Head of the Central Detective Unit, Paul Roll, tells our news team that police released a woman who was being questioned on Monday night. That woman was the last of 8 people who police questioned this week for McCartney's fatal shooting. The group of suspects included 6 women and 2 men. McCartney's family has offered a $50,000 reward for information leading to arrest and conviction. Roll says police have been following up on the tips that have been coming in so far. Police still do not know what motivated the attack. McCartney was shot multiple times last Thursday night in the Gambare Village area. In just over 2 weeks, government is set to begin intensive value-added tax or VAT workshops for public education. Financial Secretary John Roll made the announcement. This comes in the wake of criticism over the lack of public education programs just 8 months out from implementation. Additionally, VAT legislation has yet to be made public. However, Roll notes that the legislation will definitely be released to the public before the end of the year. Last week, he told business leaders the legislation would be ready within 2 weeks. He says government is in the process of finalizing the list of goods and services that will be exempted from the tax. The Ministry of Finance is considering releasing the legislation in advance to people in the legal and accounting community before it is made public. Coming up, officials from the International Association of Athletics Federations count down to the first World Relays set for the Bahamas next year.